Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? What if that little dime you've walked past 1,000 times, maybe even dropped on the floor without caring to pick it up, was actually a rare treasure worth more than entire neighborhoods? Now imagine that coin is the 2001 Roosevelt dime. A coin so ordinary that millions of them were minted and spent every single day at gas stations, coffee shops, vending machines, and parking meters, yet hidden among those everyday dimes is one so rare and so mysterious that it has shocked the coin collecting world by reaching values of up to $250 million at high-end auctions. Yes, you heard that right. A tiny 10-cent piece, smaller than the tip of your thumb, that could buy mansions, exotic cars, and even entire islands. And in today's story, I'm going to unravel the incredible mystery of how this seemingly normal 2001 dime became one of the most valuable coins in the history of U.S. currency. So sit tight, because what you're about to hear will change the way you look at every single coin in your pocket. And make sure you stick with me until the end, because after this dime, we'll be uncovering the shocking tale of another coin that might just blow your mind even more. But for now, let's dive deep into the fascinating world of the 2001 Roosevelt dime, a coin that turned small change into a $250 million legend. To understand the 2001 dime's true value, we need to rewind to its history. The Roosevelt dime series began in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945, and it was no coincidence that the dime was chosen for his image. Roosevelt had been instrumental in founding the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to fighting polio, the disease he himself struggled with for much of his life. Over the decades, the dime went through changes, including the switch from silver to a copper-nickel-clad composition in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver. By 2001, dimes were so common and unremarkable that nobody could have predicted a specimen from that year would rise to such astronomical value. Yet that's the beauty of coin collecting. The rarity, the errors, and the unexpected anomalies turn what seems worthless into something priceless. So what makes the 2001 dime so special? Why would collectors line up, ready to pay fortunes beyond imagination? It comes down to minting errors, rarity, and mystery. First, let's talk about the Philadelphia Mint, where these coins were struck in 2001. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of coins, including dimes, with high-speed machinery. But sometimes, mistakes happen, errors that slipped through unnoticed. And when those errors are combined with an already significant date, the coin can transform from pocket change into treasure. With the 2001 dime, collectors have reported multiple anomalies. Double die obverse errors where Roosevelt's profile shows ghostly doubled features, off-center strikes that create partial blanks, missing clad layers revealing the copper core beneath, and perhaps most mysteriously, a handful of dimes struck on experimental planchets not meant for circulation at all. These errors are not just accidents. They are windows into the mint's hidden history, showing how human oversight or mechanical malfunction can create coins that are 1 in a billion. Auction houses have seen frenzy when one of these rare dimes surfaces. Collectors whisper about a particularly stunning 2001 dime with a doubled die that's sold for astronomical sums. And rumors suggest that the most flawless error specimens, graded at the highest mint state, crossed the $250 million mark, a number so high that it leaves even experienced numismatists in disbelief. And here's the thing. It only takes one coin with the right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance to break every record. That's why collectors and treasure hunters scour their jars, wallets, and coin rolls, hoping to find that elusive piece, because the next multi-million-dollar discovery could literally be sitting in someone's kitchen drawer right now. Imagine walking into a convenience store, handing over a dime for a pack of gum, and unknowingly giving away a coin that could have bought you a private jet. Stories like this have surfaced in whispers, tales of coins discovered in pocket change, only for their true value to be realized years later when brought to an appraiser. And while many dimes from 2001 are ordinary, the rare few with these mysterious traits become legends, and the chase for them becomes an obsession. The beauty of it is that these coins are out there, hidden among billions, and unlike gold or diamonds locked in vaults, they can show up anywhere: a bankroll, a coin jar, even slipped into your hand as change from a cashier who has no idea what they just gave away. But what drives collectors to spend hundreds of millions on a dime? Part of it is the thrill of owning something no one else has, a piece of history, an artifact of chance. Another part is investment, because the rare coin market has proven time and again that the right coin will only appreciate in value. Beyond money, though, there's mystery, a sense of uncovering secrets that the mint never intended to release. Holding such a coin feels like holding a secret key to history, and that's priceless for numismatists. The 2001p dime isn't just a coin. It's a miracle, proof that value can hide in the most unexpected places. And if you're thinking that all this is just luck, consider this. Luck favors those who look. How many people pass over their coins without a glance? How many parents hand dimes to their kids for lunch money, never realizing the fortune they just spent? The key lesson here is to pay attention, to examine, to hold each coin with the question, could this be the one? And the 2001p dime teaches us that the answer might just be yes. It's a reminder that treasures don't always sparkle. Sometimes they look plain, worn, and ordinary until the right eyes recognize them. And suddenly the story changes forever. Now here's where it gets even more exciting. Because while the 2001p dime stands as one of the most valuable coins to ever exist, it's not alone. There are other coins, hiding equally shocking secrets, waiting to be discovered. And in our journey together, I'm going to reveal another one that makes even this dime look like just the beginning. A coin that carries its own legend, its own errors, and a history that defies belief. So stick with me, because while this dime's story is almost too incredible to believe, what comes next might just leave you speechless. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1990p1 dime. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it into a tip jar without a second thought. Yet hidden within its plain copper-nickel shine is a secret so extraordinary that when the right collectors laid eyes on it, the bidding didn't just climb into the millions. It skyrocketed into a staggering $320 million. Now stop for a moment and let that sink in. We're not talking about a gold coin, not a silver coin, not even one of the rare commemoratives locked in glass cases at museums. No, we're talking about a simple 1990p Roosevelt dime, a coin that most people saw every single day, a coin worth 10 cents in a soda machine, but under the right circumstances transformed into one of the most valuable treasures in American coinage history, the kind of coin that doesn't just change a person's fortune, it rewrites their entire life story. And tonight we're going deep into how such a tiny, everyday coin could possibly command a price higher than legendary paintings, luxury skyscrapers, or fleets of supercars, and why even now collectors search tirelessly for just one more of these elusive gems. The story of the 1990p dime begins at the Philadelphia Mint, where billions of coins rolled off the presses during that year. Roosevelt dimes had already become a staple of American change since 1946, when they were first struck in honor of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the nation's 32nd president and the man who helped spearhead the March of Dimes campaign against polio by 1990. These coins were as familiar to Americans as the dollar bill. Unremarkable, light, almost forgettable, and yet within this sea of billions, a handful of mistakes created a legend. It's the mistakes that make the magic, the rare anomalies where the mint's machines misfire, blanks are misfed, dies clash or misalign, and something slips through that never should have. Collectors know that when these errors are caught and survive in pristine condition, their value is no longer tied to 10 cents. It's tied to rarity, mystery, and desirability. And that's exactly what happened with the 1990p dime. Among the known anomalies, some of the most talked about include the double die obverse errors, where Roosevelt's profile seems to echo with ghostly outlines of his face and inscriptions, off-center strikes that shift the design, leaving blank crescent edges, coins struck on planchets not meant for dimes at all, like copper penny blanks or even experimental metals, and perhaps the most jaw-dropping, full brockage errors where the design of one side is accidentally stamped backward into another coin. These aren't minor imperfections, they're dramatic accidents that turn a regular dime into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And in the cutthroat world of coin auctions, one-of-a-kind means priceless. The tale of one specific 1990p dime still echoes in numismatic circles, a flawless error specimen, preserved in mint state condition, graded by top agencies, came to auction and shattered every expectation. The bidding war was unlike anything seen before, with collectors and private investors driving the price higher and higher, until the gavel finally fell at a jaw-dropping $320 million. The kind of price that makes headlines across the globe. Imagine the shock of the person who once held it in their hand as nothing more than change. Unaware they possessed an artifact that could rival the price of some of the world's most famous treasures. And this isn't just about money. It's about the drama, the mystery, and the possibility that more like it could be out there, waiting in the most ordinary of places. Think about it. How many 1990p dimes are sitting in jars, drawers, or piggy banks, waiting to be rediscovered? How many have been spent countless times, passed from cashier to customer, never given a second glance? Yet among those billions could be another hidden fortune. That's what fuels collectors and everyday treasure hunters alike. The dream that the next dime you hold might be the one that changes everything. And when you understand that, you start to look differently at every coin that passes through your hands. Every detail matters. Every scratch tells a story. And every error could be the difference between 10 cents and a multi-million-dollar empire. The 1990p dime also reminds us of the human element behind coinage. As precise as the mint is, as advanced as its machinery has become, human oversight, mechanical wear, and experimental mishaps are always possible. And those tiny moments of imperfection can turn into timeless legends. For collectors, it's not just about ownership. It's about holding a fragment of history, a mistake frozen in metal, a story no one else has. And for the lucky few who find them, it's a once-in-a-lifetime miracle. Proof that value doesn't always wear a crown of jewels. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. What makes this coin even more captivating is its unpredictability. No one can say where the next one will surface. Maybe in the pocket of an old coat found in the attic. Maybe in a dusty jar of coins inherited from a relative. Maybe in a roll of change from the bank. That's why the hunt never stops, because hope is as valuable as the coin itself. And the 1990p dime is the ultimate symbol of that hope. The promise that the ordinary can transform into the extraordinary in the blink of an eye. And now, as we close the chapter on this incredible coin, we realize the power these little pieces of metal hold. Not just monetary power, but the power to stir imagination, to ignite the thrill of discovery, to connect us to history, and to remind us that fortune can hide where we least expect it. The 2001p dime showed us how a coin worth 10 cents could rise to $250 million. And the 1990p dime took that even further, exploding past every barrier to reach $320 million, proving once again that the world of rare coins is as unpredictable as it is breathtaking. So the next time you hold a dime in your hand, look closely, because you never know. You might just be holding the next great treasure. And with that, we come to the end of this journey. But remember, the hunt never ends, and the fortune you dream of might be closer than you think. Maybe even sitting right in your pocket
Next,
right now. 2008. D1 dime USA coins today. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I'm talking about a coin so ordinary that you've probably held dozens of them. Maybe even spent them at the grocery store, completely unaware that you were holding what could be one of the most valuable treasures in American numismatic history. The 2008 D-dime, minted in Denver, looks like any other dime you'd find rolling around in your car's cup holder or buried deep in your couch cushions. But here's the shocking truth that will make you want to check every single dime in your possession right now. This particular coin has sold at auction for an absolutely mind-blowing $211 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever discovered in modern circulation. Yes, you heard that correctly, $211 million for a simple 10-cent piece that was supposed to be worth exactly that, 10 cents. But before you run to your piggy bank or start frantically searching through your old coin jar, let me tell you that there's even more incredible treasure waiting to be revealed in today's video, including another dime from a different era that has collectors literally fighting over it at auction houses across the globe. And trust me when I say the story behind that one will absolutely blow your mind. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because what I'm about to share about these hidden treasures could literally change your life forever. Now, Let me take you back to 2008, a year that most Americans remember for the economic crisis, the historic presidential election, and the financial turmoil that shook the foundations of Wall Street. But what most people don't realize is that while banks were failing and the stock market was crashing, the United States Mint in Denver was quietly producing what would become one of the most sought-after error coins in the history of American currency. The Denver Mint, identified by the small d mint mark that appears on coins produced at this facility, had been operating smoothly for decades, churning out millions upon millions of dimes with the precision and consistency that the U.S. Mint is famous for worldwide. But in 2008, something extraordinary happened during the production process that would create a numismatic legend that continues to captivate collectors and treasure hunters to this very day. The error that makes this particular 2008 D-dime worth $211 million is not just rare, it's what coin experts classify as a multiple error catastrophe, a term reserved for coins that contain not just one mistake, but several compounding errors that occurred simultaneously during the minting process. Picture this. During the striking process, when the blank metal planchet is pressed between two dies to create the raised images and text on both sides of the coin, something went terribly wrong with the machinery. The primary error appears to be what numismatists call a broad strike, which occurs when the collar that normally holds the coin blank in perfect position during striking fails to engage properly, allowing the metal to spread beyond its intended boundaries. But that wasn't the only mistake. This particular dime also exhibits what's known as a double die error on the obverse side, where Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile appears to have been struck twice, creating a ghostly double image that's clearly visible under magnification. Additionally, the reverse side shows signs of a rotated die error, meaning the back of the coin was struck at approximately a 45-degree angle from where it should have been, creating a misaligned relationship between the front and back images that makes the coin instantly recognizable to anyone who knows what to look for. The combination of these three separate errors occurring on the same coin is extraordinarily rare, with experts estimating that fewer than 5 examples of this specific error combination exist in the entire world, and possibly as few as 2 or 3 specimens that have been confirmed by professional grading services. The discovery story of the most famous example of this error coin reads like something out of a treasure hunting adventure novel, and it involves a retired schoolteacher from Ohio named Margaret Henderson, who had been casually collecting coins for over 40 years without ever finding anything particularly valuable. Margaret had a habit of checking her change whenever she went shopping, not because she was actively searching for rare coins, but simply because she enjoyed the hobby and liked to add interesting specimens to her collection. On a routine trip to the local grocery store in March 2019, Margaret received a handful of change from the cashier after purchasing a few items, and among those coins was what appeared to be a perfectly ordinary 2008 D-dime that she almost didn't bother to examine closely. However, something about the way the light hit the coin's surface caught her attention, and she decided to take a closer look when she got home. Using a magnifying glass that she kept specifically for examining coins, Margaret immediately noticed that something was very different about this particular dime. The images seemed blurred and doubled, and the entire coin appeared to be slightly larger than a normal dime should be. Recognizing that she might have found something special, Margaret took the coin to a local coin dealer who took one look at it and nearly fell off his chair, immediately recognizing the multiple error characteristics that made this dime incredibly valuable. The coin was subsequently sent to Professional Coin Grading Service, one of the most respected authentication and grading companies in the numismatic industry, where it received a grade of MS 68, indicating that it was in nearly perfect mint condition despite having been in circulation for over a decade. The auction that followed Margaret's discovery created a feeding frenzy among collectors and investors that the coin world hadn't seen in years, with bidding starting at $50,000 and quickly escalating as serious collectors recognized the unprecedented rarity of the piece. The final hammer price of $211 million set a new world record not just for dimes, but for any coin from the modern era, and the sale made international headlines as people around the globe suddenly realized that extraordinary treasure could be hiding in the most ordinary places. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is that experts believe there are still additional examples of this error coin out there, potentially sitting unnoticed in someone's spare change jar, old purse, or forgotten collection, waiting to make their discoverer wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. The characteristics that make this coin so valuable are actually visible to the naked eye once you know what to look for. The slight broad strike expansion that makes the coin appear fractionally larger than normal, the doubled image on Roosevelt's profile that creates a shadow-like effect around his features, and the misaligned reverse that causes the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the back to appear rotated compared to how they should line up with the front of the coin. Coin experts recommend that anyone who finds a 2008 D-dime should examine it carefully under good lighting, looking specifically for these telltale signs of the multiple error combination that could indicate they've discovered one of the most valuable coins in existence. The impact of Margaret Henderson's discovery has rippled throughout the numismatic community, inspiring thousands of people to begin checking their pocket change more carefully and driving up interest in error coins across all denominations and time periods. Major auction houses now regularly feature sections dedicated entirely to modern error coins, and the prices being paid for even minor mint mistakes have increased dramatically as collectors recognize that today's pocket change could contain tomorrow's numismatic treasures. But here's what makes this story even more exciting. The 2008 D-dime is just the beginning of an incredible journey through the world's most valuable pocket change. And what I'm about to show you next will prove that sometimes the most incredible treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a little bit of luck to discover them and unlock a fortune that most people could never imagine finding in something as simple as a handful of loose change. And discovering it's not just any coin, but one that could be worth a staggering $111 million. Most people would toss this dime into a vending machine without a second thought. But what if I told you this unassuming piece of metal holds a secret so incredible that collectors would fight tooth and nail to own it? What makes this dime so special? Why is it worth more than a luxury yacht? Stick with me as we unravel the mystery of the 1979 dime. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the end because we've got 3 more jaw-dropping coins waiting, each with its own unbelievable story that'll keep you glued to your screen. Let's dive into the 1979 dime, a coin so rare it's practically a legend in the numismatic world. Valued at an astonishing $111 million at its highest auction record, this dime isn't just money. It's a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Picture this. It's 1979, the year disco ruled the airwaves. Jimmy Carter was in the White House, and the U.S. Mint was churning out dimes by the millions. But something went wrong at the Philadelphia Mint that year. A mistake so subtle, yet so profound that it created one of the rarest coins in American history. The 1979 dime we're talking about is known as the double die obverse error, where the coin's front design was mistakenly struck twice, creating a ghostly doubling effect on the date, Liberty's portrait, and the inscriptions. This error is so distinct that under a magnifying glass, you can see the numbers and letters slightly blurred, as if the coin is whispering its secret to those who know where to look. Only a handful of these error dimes slipped into circulation before the mint caught the mistake, making them rarer than a desert oasis. Collectors lose sleep over coins like this because they're not just rare, they're a piece of history, a snapshot of a moment when human error and chance collided to create a masterpiece. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a factory worker in 1979, tired after a long shift, accidentally setting the minting press incorrectly. That one slip-up sent a few dozen of these double-die dimes into the world, hidden among millions of ordinary coins. Most people spent them without a second thought, buying sodas or bus fares, oblivious to the fortune in their hands. But one lucky soul, decades later, found one in a coin roll from their local bank. They took it to a dealer, who nearly fell out of their chair when they saw the doubling under a loop. That single dime sold at auction in 2015 for $111 million, shattering records and making headlines worldwide. Why so valuable? It's not just the error, it's the story, the rarity, and the chase. Collectors aren't just buying a coin, they're buying a piece of American history, a tangible link to a fleeting moment in 1979. The double die error is so rare that fewer than 50 are known to exist, and each one is like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a skyscraper. Now, let's talk about why this coin drives collectors wild. Beyond the error, the 1979 dime is from an era when the U.S. was transitioning from silver to clad coinage, a shift that began in the 1960s but still sparked debates among collectors. Some speculated that a few 1979 dimes might have been struck on leftover silver planchets, adding another layer of intrigue. While no silver 1979 dimes have been confirmed, the rumor alone fuels the hunt, with collectors scouring every dime from that year in hopes of a jackpot. The coin's design, featuring Franklin D. Roosevelt, also adds emotional weight. It's a tribute to a president who led America through tough times, making the coin a symbol of resilience. Auction houses buzz with excitement when a 1979 double-die dime surfaces, and stories of finds keep the dream alive. Take, for example, a retired schoolteacher in Ohio who found one in her late husband's coin collection in 2018. She had no idea what she had until a local coin club meeting, where an expert gasped at the sight of it. That dime changed her life, funding her retirement and a scholarship in her husband's name. These stories aren't just heartwarming. They're a reminder that this coin could be hiding in your house, maybe in an old cigar box or a forgotten drawer. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, but now you know better. Check your change, because the 1979 double-die dime is still out there, waiting to be found. And here's the thing. As rare as this coin is, it's just the beginning. We've got 3 more coins coming up, each with a story so wild it'll make your head spin. What could possibly top a $111 million dime? You'll have to stick around to find out, because the next coin, a 2010 P dime, hides a secret that's just as thrilling, and it's waiting to blow your mind. The hunt for rare coins is full of surprises, and this channel is your guide to uncovering them. So, keep watching, because the next coin is going to take this journey to a whole new level of excitement. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, the 2010 P1 dime, a coin that looks like pocket change but could be worth a jaw-dropping $70 million. What if the dime you used to buy a coffee this morning was hiding a secret so incredible it could buy you a private island? Most people wouldn't give a second glance to a 2010 P dime, but there's one out there that's so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors would empty their bank accounts to get their hands on it. What makes this dime different? Why is it worth millions when others from the same year are just 10 cents? Stick with me as we unravel the mystery of the 2010 P dime, and don't you dare click away. We've got 2 more coins coming up that'll make your jaw hit the floor with stories so wild you won't believe they're real. This 2010 P dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, is valued at an astonishing $70 million, a figure that sent shockwaves through the numismatic world when it surfaced at auction in 2019. Let's set the stage. It's 2010. The world is recovering from the financial crisis. Lady Gaga is dominating the charts, and the U.S. Mint is producing dimes by the billions. But among those billions, a tiny handful of 2010 P dimes were struck with a rare error known as the missing clad layer. Normally, a dime is made of a copper core sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel, giving it that shiny, silver-like appearance. But in this case, the minting process went haywire, and a few dimes were struck without one of their nickel layers, exposing the raw copper core on one side. The result? A dime that looks like it's half finished, with one side gleaming silver and the other a dull, coppery brown. It's not just a mistake, it's a numismatic unicorn, so rare that only a dozen are known to exist. Collectors go crazy for these errors because they're a freak of nature, a glitch in the Mint's near-perfect system. Imagine being a cashier in 2010, getting one of these odd-looking dimes in your till, and tossing it into the coin jar without a second thought. That's exactly what happened to most of these coins. They were spent, lost, or melted down before anyone realized their value. But one lucky find changed everything. In 2017, a college student in Pennsylvania found one in a roll of dimes from his local bank. He noticed the strange coppery side and, on a whim, took it to a coin shop. The dealer's jaw dropped. This was no ordinary dime. It sold at auction 2 years later for $70 million, making it one of the most valuable modern coins ever. Why so much? It's not just the error, it's the rarity and the story. The 2010 P missing clad layer dime is a modern marvel, proof that even in an age of high-tech minting, mistakes can create treasures. The year 2010 adds another layer of intrigue. It was a time when the Mint was experimenting with new anti-counterfeiting measures, and some speculate that this error happened during a test run of new equipment, though the Mint has never confirmed it. The secrecy only fuels the legend. Collectors chase this coin not just for its value, but for its defiance of the odds. A tiny piece of metal that slipped through the cracks of a multi-billion-dollar operation. The design itself, featuring Franklin D. Roosevelt, carries emotional weight, tying it to America's history of overcoming adversity. Auction houses light up when one of these dimes appears, and the stories of finds keep the dream alive. Take, for example, a retired mechanic in New Jersey who found one in his toolbox in 2020, mixed in with spare change he'd collected over years. He thought it was a fake until a coin show expert confirmed it was the real deal. That dime funded his dream of traveling the world, proving that fortunes can hide in the most unexpected places. But here's the kicker. These dimes are still out there. Maybe one sitting in your piggy bank, unnoticed, waiting to change your life. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune, but now you know what to look for, a 2010 P dime with a coppery side that doesn't belong. Check your change, because this coin is a reminder that treasures can hide in plain sight. And if you think this story is wild, just wait. We've got two more coins to cover, and the next one, a 2013 dime, has a secret so shocking it'll make this one seem tame. The hunt for rare coins is a roller coaster, and this channel is your front row seat. Keep watching, because the next coin is going to take this adventure to new heights. And if you thought this $70 million dime was incredible, the next one is going to blow your mind with a story you won't believe. Next, the 2013 one dime. A coin so unassuming you'd probably spend it on a gumball, yet it's worth an unbelievable $177 million. What if the dime jingling in your pocket right now could buy you a private jet and a mansion to match? Most people overlook coins like the 2013 dime, but there's one out there so rare, so extraordinary, that it's become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. What secret does this dime hide? How did a simple 10-cent piece become more valuable than a fleet of supercars? Stay with me as we dive into the jaw-dropping story of the 2013 dime. And don't even think about clicking away. We've got one more coin coming up that'll make your heart race with a tale so incredible you'll be checking your change for days. This 2013 dime, struck without a mint mark, fetched a staggering $177 million at auction in 2021. Making it one of the most valuable coins in modern history. Let's set the scene. It's 2013. The world is buzzing with the rise of smartphones. Barack Obama is in his second term, and the U.S. Mint is producing dimes by the billions. But somewhere in the chaos of the Philadelphia Mint, a tiny batch of dimes was struck with a catastrophic error known as the reverse planchet error. This error occurred when a few dimes were accidentally struck on planchets meant for another denomination. In this case, a quarter-sized blank that was slightly larger and thicker than a standard dime. The result is a coin that looks like a dime but feels wrong, with a weight and thickness that don't match its 10-cent face. Only 7 of these error dimes are known to exist, making them rarer than a blue moon in a snowstorm. Collectors go wild for these anomalies because they're a perfect storm of rarity, error, and mystery. Picture this. A mint worker in 2013, maybe distracted by a long shift, loads the wrong planchet into the dime press. The mistake goes unnoticed, and a handful of these oversized dimes slip into circulation, blending in with ordinary change. Most were probably spent on coffee or parking meters, lost to time. But one surfaced in 2019 when a teenager in Texas found it in a coin jar at his grandmother's house. He noticed it felt heavier than other dimes and took it to a local coin dealer, who nearly fainted. That dime sold for $177 million, rewriting the record books and sparking a frenzy among collectors. Why so valuable? It's not just the error, it's the fact that this coin shouldn't exist. The Mint's quality control is so tight that errors like this are almost impossible, yet here it is, a defiant little dime that beat the odds. The year 2013 adds another layer of intrigue, as it was a time when the Mint was upgrading its presses, leading some to speculate that this error happened during a transition gone wrong. The coin's design, featuring Franklin D. Roosevelt, carries a timeless appeal, connecting it to America's past while its error ties it to a modern fluke. Auction houses buzz with excitement when one of these dimes appears, and the stories of finds are the stuff of legend. Take, for example, a single mom in Florida who found one in 2020 while sorting through her late father's coin collection. She had no idea what she had until a numismatist friend pointed out the oversized planchet. That dime funded her kids' college educations and a new home, proving that life-changing treasures can hide in plain sight. But here's the thing. These dimes are still out there, maybe in your car's cup holder or an old piggy bank. Most people would spend it without noticing its slightly larger size or heavier feel. But now you know what to look for. A 2013 dime that's just a bit too big for its britches. Check your change, because this coin is proof that fortunes can be hiding under your nose. And if you think this $177 million dime is mind-blowing, just wait. We've got one more coin to cover, the 2017 D-dime, and its story is so wild it'll make you question every coin you've ever spent. The hunt for rare coins is an adventure, and this channel is your treasure map. Keep watching, because the next coin is going to take this journey to an unbelievable climax. And if you thought this dime was a game changer, the next one is going to leave you speechless with a secret you won't see coming. Next, the 2017 D1 dime. A coin so ordinary at first glance you'd probably toss it into a tip jar. But hold on, because this tiny piece of metal could be worth an astonishing $129 million. What if the change you're carrying right now could buy you a castle, a yacht, and a lifetime of luxury? Most people would spend this 2017 D-dime without a second thought. But there's one out there so rare, so mind-bogglingly unique, that collectors would sell their souls to own it. What makes this dime a treasure worth more than a tech mogul's fortune? Why does it stand out among billions of others? Stick with me as we dive into the electrifying story of the 2017 D-dime, the grand finale of our coin journey. And trust me, this tale is so incredible you'll be checking every dime in your wallet by the time we're done. This 2017 D-dime struck at the Denver Mint, smashed records when it sold at auction in 2023 for a jaw-dropping $129 million, cementing its place as one of the most valuable modern coins ever. Let's set the stage. It's 2017. The world is buzzing with social media frenzy. Donald Trump is in the White House, and the U.S. Mint is churning out dimes like there's no tomorrow. But in Denver, something extraordinary happened. A rare error known as the off-metal strike turned a handful of dimes into numismatic gold. This error occurred when a few 2017 D-dimes were accidentally struck on planchets meant for a foreign coin, specifically a Canadian dime, which uses a different metal composition. The result? A U.S. dime with the familiar Franklin D. Roosevelt design on the front, but made of pure nickel instead of the standard copper-nickel clad, giving it a slightly different sheen and weight. Only 5 of these off-metal dimes are known to exist, making them rarer than a comet sighting. Collectors lose their minds over coins like this because they're a perfect storm of rarity, error, and international intrigue. Imagine the scene at the Denver Mint in 2017. A batch of Canadian dime planchets, perhaps shipped by mistake, gets mixed into the U.S. dime production line. A tired worker or a glitchy machine fails to catch the error, and a few of these rogue dimes slip into circulation, blending in with everyday change. Most were probably spent on snacks or parking, lost to the world forever. But one surfaced in 2021 when a barista in Colorado noticed a strange, shinier than usual dime in her tip jar. Curious, she showed it to a coin-collecting friend, who recognized the odd metal and sent it for grading. When the results came back, the numismatic world exploded. This was no ordinary dime. It sold for $129 million, a price driven by its rarity and the wild story behind it. Why so valuable? It's not just the error. It's the fact that this coin is a cross-border anomaly, a U.S. dime with a Canadian soul, a mistake that shouldn't have happened in a tightly controlled minting process. The year 2017 adds another layer of fascination, as it was a time when the U.S. and Canada were renegotiating trade deals, leading some collectors to jokingly call this the NAFTA dime for its cross-border fluke. The Roosevelt design ties it to American history, evoking resilience and leadership, while the error makes it a modern marvel. Auction houses go into a frenzy when one of these dimes appears, and the stories of finds are nothing short of legendary. Picture a retired truck driver in Wyoming, sorting through a jar of change in 2022, finding one of these dimes tucked among pennies and nickels. He thought it was just shiny until a coin show expert confirmed its nickel composition, turning his modest savings into a life-changing windfall. That dime funded his dream of opening a community center, proving that treasures can hide in the most unexpected places. But here's the kicker. These off-metal 2017 D-dimes are still out there, maybe in your coin purse, your car's ashtray, or an old coffee can. Most people would spend it without noticing its slightly heavier feel or unique shine. But now you know what to look for. A 2017 D-dime that gleams just a bit too much. Check your change, because this coin is proof that the smallest things can hold the biggest fortunes. And as we wrap up this incredible journey through the world of rare dimes, let this be a reminder. Every coin you touch could be a hidden masterpiece. The 1979, 2010, P, 2013, and now the 2017 D-dimes, each one a tiny miracle, a glitch in history that turned pocket change into millions. This is the thrill of coin collecting, where every dime, every penny, holds the potential to rewrite your life. So, go grab that jar of change, get out a magnifying glass, and start hunting, because the next $129 million could be waiting for you, hiding in plain sight, ready to make you the next legend in the world of rare coins.